Hello, hello makers. So we are making this pair of earrings today. We've got these unbelievable malachite drops and these really cool mother of pearl shell Clover beads that we're going to use. Really simple pair of earrings, really easy to use. This is going to be a great demo for you guys. It's pretty beginner, pretty basic, and you get to learn how to wrap a brio. So I'm using 26 gauge to wrap the malachite and then 24 to do my loops on my mother of pearl. And then we're going to use the 20 gauge wire to make an ear wire. Tool wise, we are using a chain nose plier, a round nose plier, a flush cutter, and a 6-step bail shaping plier. So not a lot of tools, not a ton of materials. Like I said, this is a pretty easy basic demo to get us started this week. So I've got a piece of malachite here. Look at this. Look, I mean, it just looks, it reminds me of like out west, like the red rocks kind of, like but it's green. So let's start with wrapping our malachite. So I've got a piece of 26 gauge wire here, and I'm going to just come through my malachite and I'm gonna leave about an inch on one end, and then leave the rest of my tail long on the other side, and we're gonna come up the point and crisscross at the top of our point here, like this. And then we'll grab our chain nose pliers, and we're gonna grab this long tail, and we're gonna pull it up straight so that it's coming up straight off the top of our malachite like that. And then we will come around with our shorter tail and just do a couple wraps here. 2 is plenty, like that. And then we will, it's a little wonky, we'll trim that off. And we will tuck that tail in, and now we are going to make our loop. So we're going to grab right above those coils with our round nose pliers, and we're going to make a loop. So we've got the beginning of our loop here, and we've got this long tail to do all kinds of wrapping with. So I'm going to grab a hold of that loop with my chain nose pliers, and then we're going to come down around our wire, and then we're going to start wrapping down around our malachite. We're just going to wrap around the tip of the malachite, and I'm going to use this whole piece of wire here just to give myself a little pop of metal, and that kind of secures that tip. It covers up the tip real nicely, so it's kind of got like a coat of armor on it. And then I just like to go in and tuck my tail in, but just kind of adjust my coils, make sure I like the way that they're laying. Sometimes it can get a little crooked, but I like it to have, when I'm doing this kind of wrap, to have a little kind of free-form feel to it. So I just kind of let it do its thing for the most part. And so one thing you'll want to do is just kind of make sure when you're making a pair that you're looking at the other pair or the other earring while you're doing this one, so that your wraps kind of come down at this, like to the same size. You don't want to have one earring that's got a real bulky wrap on it and one that's got kind of a smaller wrap to it. So just make sure that you're keeping them symmetrical like that. So we will set that aside, and then we're going to grab our 22 gauge wire here, and we're going to make our loops for our clover bead. So we will grab about 1/3 of the way down the wire, and we're going to grab with our round nose pliers, and we're going to make the beginning of a closed loop here. Now before we close this off, I'm going to grab my malachite, and we're going to slide that on there like that. And then we will go in with our chain nose pliers here. Give that a couple twists. 2 to 3 is plenty. Just making sure that you're keeping it nice and neat and you're not overlapping your wires. It's one way to really kind of level up the look of your jewelry. Keep it nice and professional looking, nice and neat, by making sure you're not overlapping your wires when you're doing that coil there. And then we'll trim that end off. And we will slide our mother of pearl Clover on. Ooh. I have to find another one. Oh, there we go. Ooh. Let's straighten this out just a little bit. Okay. So now we've got our Clover on, and we are going to make a loop up here at the top. Okay, so let me think about it. Okay, so we want our loops to be parallel on our Clover, so we want them facing the same direction, which you can do after the fact. I just like to go ahead and try to make them parallel while I'm making them, so I don't have to go back and make too many adjustments. But this will affect the direction that the earring hangs when we put it on the ear wire. So then we're just going to come back around again, close off that loop with our coil, and we'll trim that wire, and we'll tuck our tail in. So then we have got our loops ready and our malachite hanging on our earring, and now we are ready to make an ear wire. So we've got 20 gauge in this kit too. I love, love, love this bare gold wire kit. It is one of my favorite kits that we have of wire, because I love working with gold, and this is good, just got really great gauges in it. So to make an ear wire, we're just gonna grab a couple inches of wire, and then we're gonna grab our 6-step bail shaping plier here. So for the first loop on this ear wire, we are gonna use the smallest step on this plier. We're gonna grab right at the tip of the wire, and we're gonna roll into a loop like that. And then we'll flip our plier around, and we're gonna use the biggest step on the plier, and we're just gonna come around with that wire, give it a little swoop. And then we have a really nice French hook, shepherd's hook ear wire. We'll trim that tail down just a little bit, and then we will grab our bench block and our rawhide mallet, and we're just gonna work harden this a little bit. So I wanna flatten it out and get it nice and sturdy. So work hardening is a process that we do when we're using soft metals to harden the whole thing up so that it retains its shape while we're wearing the earrings. So I've got it nice and hard. One other thing that we wanna do, because I cut the end of this wire with my flush cutter, it's got a real sharp, kind of jagged end on it, and that's gonna be pretty uncomfortable when you're trying to put it through your ear. So we wanna go in with our file and smooth that down. If you've got sandpaper, you can use sandpaper. And if you have our reaming tool, our bead reaming tool, it comes with a cut burr on it, and it's a little attachment that has a little cup on the end of it, and you can just put it right on the end of your wire and turn your reaming tool on, and it's gonna round out the end of that. But if you've got files handy, files are a great option too. So we just wanna smooth this out, round it out, nothing crazy. I just wanna take down any sharp edges that might exist there. so that it doesn't hurt to put on. So we've softened that up quite a bit, and now it's ready to wear. See, yeah, there's no, and you can feel with your finger whether you've got any jagged points on it or not. Okay, so now we are going to attach our ear wire. So we're gonna grab our chain nose pliers, and we're gonna grab that loop, and we're just gonna gently pry it open like that. And then we will slide our earring on, and then we'll close that loop up. So we just wanna make sure we're closing it up all the way so that you don't have any gaps there, so that your earring doesn't fall out while you're wearing it or while you're putting it on. So just make sure you're closing those loops up. And then we are done. And what a elegant, simple, easy to make earring. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's demo. If you need any of the tools and supplies that we used today, check out the links in the description below. And while you're down there, I want to know how you celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos. Bye y'all.